On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline.
Well, I think, like I mentioned, it's more of a budget thing. So if you don't have a budget up front, sure, do a Wix website, but don't let that be your only website ever. That's a starting point, because once your business gets going, you can afford it, then you should invest in a better professional website. I personally use WordPress for my sites. I find it to be the most robust, flexible platform for any business website. It's got the built-in blog engine, and it's got the whole extensive set of plugins and developers that are making sure it's secure and adding new functionality all the time. And of course, you can skin it however you want. So people don't even have to know that it's a WordPress website. There are very large websites out there today, news sites that use WordPress, and you wouldn't guess that. But it performs well, it works well. So my choice is WordPress. If you're savvy enough to set a WordPress site up yourself, you can do that. It is free to use. So that's a great way to go, especially if you plan to improve it later. But the reason my feelings are probably stronger than I'm letting on in terms of what platform to use. But I understand that when you're starting a business, it's hard to know where to allocate your capital and time and things. So I would say as soon as you can, get a higher quality website than Wix or Squarespace. They're not meant to be a lasting professional website, in my personal opinion.
I think that when it comes to the WordPress idea, it can be really overwhelming for someone that's not tech savvy to understand exactly what's possible, because it feels like almost this whole new world of language and plugins and apps and integrations and APIs and all of these, technical terms that somebody who doesn't understand technology or doesn't understand technology to that level would struggle with, right? So can you just give me a quick rundown of some of the different ways? Like, I'm thinking, okay, I can use WordPress to host my blog. What other types of websites could I put on a WordPress site?
Besides a blog, you mean, right?
Besides a blog.
Yeah, you can have an entire e-commerce store built on WordPress. There are different ways to do that. There are specifically WordPress-oriented platforms like WooCommerce, which essentially transform WordPress into an e-commerce platform that leverages the underlying framework. Or you can do things like, if you have BigCommerce or Shopify, there are some integrations that allow you to display the products from those platforms on your WordPress site. So that way you can design the front end to look however you like through WordPress and still keep your blog engine while linking directly to your products on Shopify or BigCommerce and use their checkout experience and payments and all that. So there's multiple ways to do it. So with blogs, e-commerce, even if it's just a simple business website, you can do it as a personal brand site where you've just got information about yourself. If you're trying to get speaking gigs and you've got a contact form, it's really unlimited options. Any type of website you want, you can build on WordPress. Now, I will say, if you start to get too application-based in terms of wanting people to do things in their browser, maybe collaboration tools like Google Drive, for example, you'd have to start coding something custom for that. But in terms of an informational website or a business website, personal site, e-commerce site, it's wide open.
And thank you for also telling us what the limitations are. And so would you recommend a WordPress site for hosting, for instance, membership sites or online courses?
Yes. That I've seen a lot of great WordPress membership sites. There are some different plugins that you can use that, again, turn WordPress into more of a membership area, but the way they do it is leveraging the WordPress framework so that you can still have your posts and pages, but you just hide them behind membership levels, essentially. So that way, when someone pays to join, they become a member at whatever level, and they get access to that content. The website still functions the same. Just before it loads the page, it checks their membership level, and if they're logged in, and then displays them the right stuff. There are other good membership platforms for courses out there, Thinkific and Kajabi. There's others, mastermind.com. They're all good for different reasons. But at the end of the day, you can use WordPress. If that's what you know or want to stick with, it's often cheaper to start with that. But there's always trade-offs. I don't know how far you want to go into that specifically, but
Well, it's a good topic to talk about. You're making some really great points, and it made me think of something that is a little bit close to what Allison and I are doing right now. At the time that we're recording this, we're absolutely looking at our website for the system to thrive and our own personal websites as a little bit of a thing that needs to be taken care of. And we're looking at, we're really creating a bit of an audit and looking at what needs to be updated, which makes me think of how often should I be updating my website, not with intrinsically brand new information, but just to keep it fresh and relevant and never getting to the terrible website stage?
And that's a good question. I'm going to answer it kind of in two parts. If we're talking about landing pages, like you're trying to sell a course or a product, that's something that you should spend a lot of time on optimizing your headline, your subheadline, and the text on the page, where to put the button and all that. And once you dial that in to get a good conversion rate, try not to touch it because that's why you spend that time up front. And because that probably won't change too often. Occasionally, well, you should revisit it, but that will stay mostly the same. On the other side, you do want to have regular content added to your site. Maybe not changing the way you write everything on your homepage every week, but adding a new blog post or an article on a regular basis can be really helpful for your followers, but also the search engines like to see that you have regular fresh content all the time. And the more content you add, especially if you're being intentional about what you're writing about, the keywords in those articles will get picked up by the search engines, and over time you're going to rank higher in the results. And so that gives you more opportunities for visitors to find you when they're searching on Google. So does that help answer that question?
It does, actually. And it caused another follow-up question, because you mentioned something about optimization and conversions, which speaks in my language. Okay, that's definitely where I play. And I have a question for you, and I want to get your opinion, because I have, again, strong opinions. Do you think that we can create high converting landing pages and sales pages right within, say, a WordPress site? Or do you recommend or know that we could do better on things like ClickFunnels and other page builders?
It depends on your level of experience. So yes, it's technically possible to build landing pages on WordPress. You don't need any external platform for that. The nice thing about ClickFunnels is they have a lot of templates that make you build it out quickly. So if you're new to building funnels, ClickFunnels is a good way to go because you can kind of get a feel for it and just drop things in there, and kind of, they make it easy to test it and try different things. Some of the trade-offs with ClickFunnels is you're now on somebody else's domain, and it might not load as fast as your own WordPress website if you've optimized it well.
Total blooper reel. Did it all come falling down?